Let's move on. Former Prince Andrew, I'm still used to saying that, the former personal assistant to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has revealed that she would be speaking to police about her time serving under the disgraced former prince. This is Charlotte Manley. She was a private secretary and treasurer to Andrew from 2001 to 2003, and before that she'd served as his assistant private secretary and treasurer since 1996. Well, I'll tell you what, she'd probably have a fair bit of information. It's good news to hear that she'll be cooperating.
Yes, she said that she would rather talk to police and the press, and often it's the other way around, of course. But this is a fascinating story because this is obviously a woman who's, served in the Royal Navy. She's held quite a position in society, but she accompanied Andrew on some of those trade envoy trips, and there's no suggestion, of course, that she's done anything wrong. And of course, Andrew has denied all allegations as well. But what this story is actually unearthed is some grim but fascinating detail about the way Andrew operates. And she talks about a masseuse that apparently Ghislaine Maxwell was a client of and then booked for Andrew. And there's all sorts of detail of Andrew coming out in his robe and then not coming out in his robe. But what's interesting is that it's the normalisation of Ghislaine Maxwell within royal circles, the fact that she had that access. She could book appointments for people to come into Buckingham Palace. And Charlotte talks about paying for one of these treatments with a Buckingham Palace chequebook, if such a thing exists. 75 quid or 75 pounds for it back in 2000, probably a lot more expensive now. So I found that really interesting that, although Andrew and everyone's tried to distance themselves from Ghislaine, she was very much in the fold there.
And Princess Eugenie has quietly given up a major charity role with Anti-Slavery International. So this is, of course, the youngest daughter of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. She has stepped down from her role as patron of the world's oldest human rights organisation after 7 years of service. What can you tell us about this?
Well, yeah, she had 7 years in the role and by all accounts did a fantastic job, did really good work in raising the profile and was actively involved, was not really a figurehead but actually sort of in there and hosting events and stuff like that. But this is the reputational black hole that her father has created. Because of his relationship with Epstein, anyone who's adjacent to him gets sucked into this space where they're having to drop, projects and charity work because optics matter to charities. You can't have an anti-slavery charity with her as the patron of it, given what her father has done. And of course she's not done anything wrong, and neither has her sister, and neither has her mother Sarah Ferguson to that end. And of course he's denied all allegations, but it's unfortunate for her, and I think it's just the beginning of this wider clean-up operation by charities. I think we'll find more of this happening for Beatrice as well, unless she sort of voluntarily withdraws, which is what Eugenie has done here. And it's a real shame because I'm sure this is a real passion project for her, but it's untenable in the current environment.
I suspect you're right. Let's talk about Fergie because she's been snubbed of a $1.5 million book deal in America, as no one is remotely interested, apparently, in doing this deal. So the former Duchess of York shared the idea of a tell-all memoir with a major US publishing house for a deal in the region of between $1.5 to $2 million, according to sources, in Hollywood. But no one's interested.
No one's interested. And I think the worm is really turned here on these kiss and tell books, which would have been a huge payday for certainly tabloid papers, but also for book publishers, because it'd be behind the scenes, warts and all, of what life was really like as a royal. This shows how toxic her brand has become as well, because no one wants to be seen to be monetising the Epstein scandal at all. And also Fergie's got quite the footprint as an author. She's written children's books, she's done lots of stuff in that space, but this was obviously a bridge too far. And I'm not overly surprised that she's tried to sell a book, to be honest, because she's obviously looking at any opportunity now to try and cash in. But I think from a publisher's point of view, it's just too hot to handle. No one's going to go near it.
Louise Roberts, thank you so much for coming in. Great to see you.